Hello everybody, it is Tuesday, and that means another week of Tuesday tutorials, where we learn something new every week. Now, it's been a few weeks since I've done one of these. I apologize for that, but we had regionals, and then people haven't sent in too many games, but this week I found one, and I think I'm ready to go with this one, so hopefully you guys learned something this week. Hopefully this is a little entertaining at the very least. And I don't think there's any trash talking this week, no Malden this week. But should be entertaining nonetheless. So, the lesson this week is understanding the limitations of the game, both yourself and your opponent. So, let's jump right into it. We have, on the bottom, a player called Ninja Death Strike. And on the top, Sea Battle is 89. So let's just get this started. We'll go from there. So the matchup this time around is Stage 1 deck versus a Yanmega Magnezone Kingdra deck. Before Catcher came out, I would say the advantage would probably go to the Yanmega Magnezone deck, but now that there's Catcher, it can really go either way. But right off the bat, we have two mulligans from this guy, so Ninja Death Strike's going to get some extra cards. Ooh, 3 mulligans. And, you know, that lone Cleffa start, not going to be as scary if you can draw some other cards and get some more basics. So, shuffle in. Hopefully he gets a hand. And, alright. So, in this matchup, who goes first actually determines quite a bit. If the Stage 1 deck can get the first evolution and then, like, Catcher out a Magnemite, that's a very big deal. And let's see who goes first. He's drawing some more cards, so he's not clear yet. Still no basics. So it's going to be a scary first turn if he does not go first. Let's see who goes first. Not much we can do so far. Alright, so Ninja Death Strike will go first. And hey, top deck's a collector. Alright, so going to get a little peek at his deck. For some reason he has foils turned on, which makes the game lag a lot. But let's just take a look. This looks like a Cinccino Yanmega Zoroark deck, and he's got a couple of Mews splashed in there too. So right off the bat, he's going to grab one of everything. A Yanma, a Zorua, and a Minccino. So, see what he does here. Now, he does have a turn 2 Cinccino with his hand, with a Catcher, but no real supporter to go beyond that. So he's going to have to decide whether or not to Eek or be aggressive with Last Resort, and he decides to just go at it and Last Resort, trying to put some pressure on early. And I'm actually not sure how I feel about that. I maybe would have Eek there, just because your hand has nowhere to go if your active ever gets knocked out. So, questionable choice, but he decides to go ahead and be aggressive, which I guess you kind of have to in this matchup, so I don't fault him for that. Now, right now we see Sea Battles go for a magnetic switch. He communication for a Yanma, so right off the bat. Okay. You saw your opponent, played a communication, grabbed a Yanma. He attached and used magnetic switch. Now, usually when somebody plays a communication, and let's be honest, he did it pretty quickly. If you don't have a supporter, you're probably going to go for a Cleffa. And if he doesn't, then we can assume what? We can assume he probably has a Rare Candy and a Magnezone, or at least a Yanmega or something. But his hand is pretty good. So you have to decide. What do you want to do here? Which basic do you actually want to knock out? Do you want to knock out the Yanma, preventing him from a Sonic Boom? Or do you want to go after the Magnemite, which is going to be a big threat in the future with Magnezone? Lost Burn is the biggest threat to your deck, probably. So he has to decide, do I want to use the Catcher, or do I want to make the Magnemite come up and just knock out the Yanma? So in this situation, I would say Magnemite is the bigger threat. And let's see what Ninja Death Strike does. He's going to throw a Dark on the Zorua. Play Communication. No, I don't think he needed to do this right away. Could have just held on to that communication until he really needed it. No reason to waste it. I mean, you don't really care if Zorua gets Ketra knocked out because you still have your Cinccino, but he's going to go for the catcher anyway. And now we're going to get a Do the Wave for the knockout. Now, I do believe this is the correct play. Magnezone is really what makes the Yanmega Magnezone deck function. Without a Magnezone, you can't really draw your cards, can't really cycle through your deck, and it actually becomes pretty clunky because you're replacing a lot of your supporters, just kind of banking on the fact that you would get a Magnezone. So, right now we see a Junk Arm, discards that rare candy, and plays a communication and shuffles in a Magnezone. So there you go. He had a rare candy and a Magnezone. If we had decided to knock out the Yanma, this would have been bad news. A rare candy Magnezone would have come out. And honestly, when you're playing these Stage 1 decks, the last thing you want to see is a Magnezone, but your opponent has a Yanmega and a Juniper anyway. So, he's going to go ahead and match your hand size this turn, gets a Yanmega, benches 2 more Pokemon, and you can attack any of your Pokemon. But, depends on which one he's going to go for. I would assume it'll be a hit to the active or a linear attack on Cleffa, and he decides to okie doke me and hit Zoroark for 40. Now, I'm not sure why Sea Battles did that, but let's ignore that. And Ninja Death Strike's going to continue with his plan to eliminate Magnemites, which is a very good plan, I think. And he actually drew a Copycat, which bailed him out of his supporterless hand. And he also gets a Yanmega, some more basics. So things are going well right now. He's going to be up 2 prizes. I'm not really sure what Sea Battles is thinking going for Zoroark. It's not really a big threat. Now we're going to have a Do the Wave for 100. And there's a knockout. So right now we're feeling good. 2 catchers, 2 Magnemites down. And your opponent just has a Yanmega. You're feeling good. What can go wrong from here? So right now we do see a Collector. Alright, so 2 more Magnemites and a Yanma. Now, we find ourselves without a catcher, and 2 more Magnemites are going to come down. But your opponent has no energy in play. So a Magnezone, not going to be threatening anytime soon. No need to freak out. You're ahead 2 prizes. This is exactly where you want to be. Now you just have to figure out what is your opponent going to do next. And he goes for a communication with a Junk Arm, evening up the hand sizes. And we'll see an attack. Not sure what he's going to go for. It's unpredictable. Alright, so he linear attacks the Yanmega. Now, I'm not sure why he's just opting not to attack this Cinccino that's busting him in the face every turn for 100. But, that's what he's doing. I just want to go back a second. Pause. Alright, so we have this. And alright, this is our hand. Now, your hand is a Junk Arm, a Zoroark, a Rescue, and a Copycat. So far, your plan has been to eliminate Magnemites. Honestly, I don't see Zoroark being that useful in this matchup. So, at all, you do want to play a catcher this turn. You do want to knock out one of those Magnemites, so I feel like the best route would be to Junk Arm away your Zoroark and your Rescue. Those are 2 cards you're probably not going to need too much. Get another catcher, bring out another Magnemite, get another knockout, limit your opponent to only 1 Magnemite for the rest of the game, and then play a Copycat, get back up to 3 cards, and go from there. This is where we're going to start to see Ninja Death Strike fall apart a little bit. So, plays that Zoroark, which right away takes away his Junk Arm option. Because you don't want to go down to 0 cards, honestly. That's just suicide. Puts a Rescue onto Zoroark. And Do the Wave. Alright, so there is 100 damage to this Yanmega. Sea Battles has not dealt with this yet, which is exactly fine with, or which is just fine with you. And then, uh-oh, here's a Magnezone. This is what we were scared about. The big bad Magnezone. Once he gets enough energy in play, he can start Lost Burning you. And he has 140 hit points. Super difficult to knock out. But we'll see. Currently no energy on his field. And then he's going to play his head on to 0, magnetic draw for 6. See if he can match hand sizes. He might be able to. Puts down another Yanma. Of course, you'd like to see an energy attachment, and there we go. And yeah, Junk Arm. He's going to be able to get down to 2. Gets rid of a Cleffa and a Catcher for a Catcher. So, yeah, just to play your hand down. And we'll see where he decides to attack this time. Now, so far his linear attacks honestly haven't done a whole lot. And he's going to continue with that trend. He just went right for the other Zoroark. I'm not sure why. Now, let's pause. So your hand right now is a Junk Arm, a Copycat, and a Collector. Your goal of this game was to prevent your opponent from getting out Magnezone, or at least get far ahead enough to where it doesn't really matter if he gets Magnezone, because you'll just win anyway. So right now, uh-oh, your opponent got the big bad scary Magnezone, but he's only got 1 energy in play. You have to understand, he can't really do anything with the Magnezone right now. So, you can honestly just take a prize here. You'll be up 3 prizes. Your opponent has taken none. And then you're kind of going to be fine. I mean, there's a lot of free prizes for Catcher. Look at all those Magnemites. And Yanma's sitting on the bench. And you're probably just going to cruise to an easy victory unless you do something crazy. Hopefully he doesn't do anything crazy. So, coming back to this. And he's retreating. This is something crazy. He's playing a Junk Arm. He's discarding his entire hand. Uh-oh. What is he doing? He's playing a Catcher. He's using the Catcher. What is he doing? He's bringing on Magnezone. Oh no. He's gonna... He had all that energy in play. He was fine. He was up so many prizes. And now he's using foul play. And Lost Burns for 150. Okay, so pause. What happened? What happened? We were doing well. We were in control. We had everything. We had a Cinccino with a double colorless on it. We had a Zoroark with 2 energy on it. Another Zoroark with 1 energy on it. We were going to be up 3 prizes if we just attacked. And all of a sudden, we have 0 energy in play. And 0 cards in hand. Now, you did take a prize. You did knock out a Magnezone, but, well, you don't have anything to do anymore. You kind of left yourself with no options. So, you have to understand when you're doing this, you have completely eliminated every option you have. You went to a pretty perfect field to having absolutely nothing. I mean, you have your evolutions, but you have no energy, and, well, that's about it. Well, now, Ninja Deathstrike here is in complete top deck mode. He has 0 cards. He's going to need to draw supporter. But you know Sea Battles is behind 3 prizes, so he'll be fine, right? And we'll take a prize. Yeah, we'll be fine. Off his prize, he gets a Professor Juniper. That is nifty. Alright, so our opponent's going to play with 2 catchers. He's got to play his hand on to 0. And he's going to take out our only free attacker on the field, which would be on Mega. Better decision might have been to go for Cleffa, but in this case, it probably wouldn't have mattered. So right now he's going to play a rescue. I don't think he should be playing the rescue, to be honest. But he should wait just to see if he gets a double colorless and he can attack. And yeah, there's a double colorless. So he would have been able to use Do the Wave and Catcher for a prize on that Magnemite. So big missed opportunity from Ninja Deathstrike. Not the biggest thing in the world, but definitely can come back to bite him. So this is the big opening for Sea Battles. He's got a Catcher. He's going to bring out the Zoroark with no energy for some reason. And Judge. The other one had a rescue, but it did have an energy, so might have been better just to go for that one. So then a Judge is going to be able to even the hand sizes and get a knockout on Zoroark. So, he's roaring back. There's 2 straight prizes, and you don't really have a strong presence on your board. You lost your Catcher. Now you're scrambling. This is what can happen when you make a couple small mistakes in a row and just kind of snowballs. We were in control, and now it's kind of spiraling out of control. Let's see where he goes from here. He can Collector, for sure. That'll make Cinccino Do the Wave for 100. And basically beat down all the Yanmegas. So that should be fine. Still no Magnezone out for Sea Battles. We'll see what Ninja Deathstrike goes for here. Looks like it's lagging a little bit on him. All those foils catch up to you. So, he can even the hand sizes and then just attack. Or he can just... Let's see. Alright, so he's going to go ahead and linear attack that Yanmega on the bench, going down to 2 prizes. Fair enough. So we're still up 2 prizes. We have a Junk Arm. That could be a Catcher. Basically, we just have to take 1 more prize, and this is fine. So, Sea Battles. Shuffling a Magneton into the deck. Getting a Magnezone. So that missed opportunity to Catcher that Magnemite is really coming back to haunt you. He's got a Magnezone out. He's going to be able to start Lost Burning soon, and there's a Juniper. He's going to draw 7 here. And bring up Magnezone. Now, this is the thing you were afraid of. This thing is huge. It's got 140 hit points, and it can really spark a comeback. But in this situation, he just burned both of his energy to knock out your Yanmega, so not that big of a deal. And now, Ninja Deathstrike. He's setting up Zoroark for some reason. Not exactly sure why. In this situation, you would much rather send out Cleffa. So one lesson here is when you have a free retreating Pokemon, please promote it. You can just retreat. Don't just promote something and commit to it for no reason. And he's putting a double colorless onto Zoroark. And playing a Sage. He's starting to lag pretty badly. Alright, so here he's got a double colorless and a Catcher to choose from. I don't think you really want to take anything else, to be honest. 2 Catchers, 2 prizes. No big deal. Now, if you would have promoted the Cinccino this turn, you would have won next turn. But now he's going to use Foul Play for Lost Burn and commit a big oopsie. This is probably the definition of not knowing your limitations. He's going to Lost Burn for, let's see it, 100. What did we learn? Read the Pokemon cards. Magnezone's Lost Burn, it counts each energy card you put in the Lost Zone. Not each energy. So Ninja Deathstrike making a pretty big mistake here. Promoting Zoroark, thinking he could knock out Magnezone, but in reality, he only did 100 damage. So once again, he leaves himself with 0 energy in play, but this time he has a hand at least. So things are not all bad. But if he just would have attacked with Cinccino, it probably would have been a little better. Oh well. But yeah, just a lesson. You'd be surprised how often these sort of things happen. Just read the cards. The simplest limitations you can have are just on the cards right in front of you. Sometimes you just misread cards and you don't realize you can't do things. So always be aware of what everything does. That's a big lesson. So let's get back to this. Alright, so now he gets to play a switch. It's not all bad though. A Yanmega can linear attack that Magnezone eventually, but you just did kind of waste a turn and all your energy. So, gonna see a copycat, and now we're in a bad spot because, well, Sea Battles can just kind of linear attack your bench, and you can't attack next turn, so he can knock out your Cleffa or Sonic Boom you. Yeah. So, alright, you got bailed out. But that could have been a lot worse. That could have been your Cleffa being knocked out by Sonic Boom, and then you can't actually retreat and attack this turn. You would have to then attach a double Colas to Zoroark and attack the Yanmega, and then, or actually you would actually linear attack the Magnezone, I guess. But I think it would have been more dangerous if he linear attacked the Cleffa. I'm not sure, that's actually a close call. But now we're down to 2 prizes. We'll see what Ninja Deathstrike decides to do. He's only got 2 prizes to go. So, let us pause here. What are our opponent's limitations here? Well, he's got a Yanmega, 2 Yanmas, and a Magnezone. Yanmega only works if he can match your hand size. Magnezone works no matter what, if he's got the energy in play. So your number 1 target here should be that Magnezone. A, he can knock your stuff out in 1 hit. B, he allows your opponent to equal your hand size with ease. And C, it's going to be the biggest threat on the field. So you have a catcher and a junk arm in your hand. Go ahead, play the catcher, and you want to knock that thing out. So things are still looking good. That early advantage has saved you, and we're going to go from there. So hopefully, yeah, we're going for a catcher. Now you could take a Magnezone or a Yanma. Either one actually is fine here. You could go for a Yanma knowing that the Magnezone's always going to be there. But, you know, he doesn't actually have any attackers beyond the Cinccino in his hand. So he decides to go for the Do the Wave. Alright, so now it's up to Sea Battles to match the hand size and return a knockout quickly. And honestly, it's going to come down to who gets the catcher first. Or if Sea Battles can, well, that's not what you want to do. If he were to evolve all of his Yanmas and make it so there are no catcher targets for Ninja Deathstrike, that would have been a problem. But he's benched a bunch more Pokemon, so that's taken away. So basically, if you have a catcher, you win at this point. Well, unless you get judged, that would be a problem. So he gets another Yanmega. We do see Horsey come down, which surprising that didn't come down at all earlier. And just a Sonic or linear attack onto your Cleffa, and now this is a very straightforward win. Junk Arm, Junk Arm, Junk Arm. Alright, so there we go. Catcher. And this opponent says GG. And we're going to see Ninja Deathstrike squeeze out a win. If he can ever play the catcher. If he can ever play the catcher. Alright, so there we go. He's going to see you do the wave for knockout. And that's going to be the game. So, close game. Ninja Death Strike barely pulls it out after being ahead so far. A few little mistakes along the way made that closer than it needed to be. And apparently his video turns into a deck description. So, the lesson this time is that, yes, Ninja Death Strike did win, but he should have won by a lot more. That game should not have been as close as it was. He overstepped his boundaries. He didn't understand what his deck's limits were. If he would have just kept Ketchering, which was his strength, use your Cinchino to just keep beating down stuff, eventually he's just going to win. But what he did was remove all of his energy from play. He removed his hand from play, more importantly, and honestly took away all of his options and limited what he could actually do. Before that magical turn where he catchered out a Magnezone and lost zone all of his energy, he was fine. He had everything in the world. He probably would have won easily. And, I mean, that's all there is to it. He just probably would have won by like 3 prizes. And that would have been it. But he didn't understand. He didn't have to go for that Magnezone immediately. His opponent was not threatening him that much with the Magnezone. And he got lucky getting that Juniper out of his prizes. If he didn't get that, I think he actually loses that game, to be honest. But, yeah, hopefully you learned a little bit of something. Don't overextend yourself. Understand everything that's going on, and that you don't have to burn everything in your hand to go for one big knockout. Because at the end of the day, you have to plan the game out to take 6 prizes, not knock out a Magnezone. So, he played well for the most part, just that one turn kind of turned it all around and took his major advantage and turned it into a close game. So, just a lesson to be careful and don't overstep your boundaries. So, that'll be it for this Tuesday tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it. And from here, I will answer some questions in the chat if you guys have any, as long as they're not inappropriate or anything like, what should I add to my deck? What am I playing for cities? What are you playing for cities? Stuff like that. Just use common sense. So, let's get to the questions.